Patrick, I'm super excited to be here today and learn a little bit from you about what it means to be a parenting educator.
Yeah, I get that question a lot. People ask me what I do, and I say I teach parents, and they say, well, what do you teach them? Well, a big part of what we teach parents is to listen to their kids and to take time to really explore their child's emotions, because that's what's going to make a bad decision, is not handling an emotion correctly.
This is the Sterling series, Flourishing Families. I'm your host, Tony Karls, and today I'm sitting down with Patrick Fendt of the Parenting Network, and we're going to be talking about what they do to help families, and specifically their program, Strengthening Families. Patrick, when a family comes in for the first time, where do they start? I imagine the first step is really the hardest.
Yeah, well, the first step is always the hardest, is reaching out to say, I might not be the parent I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And that's really where people start, is they call the helpline, and our helpline call answerers will help them to think about, ask some basic questions about how old are your children, how long you've been a parent, is there some specific need going on, like divorce or situation at school that you're concerned about that you want specific help with, and then we'll try to figure out which of our many programs might fit for them, because we don't believe that one size fits all when it comes to parenting.
Yeah.
And so your concern is your own unique concern, and everyone knows their family is pretty unique.
Yeah. So when they do call that first time, where are some of these families emotionally? What are they dealing with? And you talked about how long have you been a parent?
Yeah. Well, some families that we talk to are pretty isolated. They don't know where else to go. They don't have a grandmother in town. They don't have relatives in town. And so that might be a thing and sometimes conflict makes us isolate. It makes us stick to ourselves. We're a little embarrassed about the fact that we can't take our kid out shopping with us. We're a little embarrassed that our kid is the one who got busted for having drugs at school. Mm-hmm. And so we tend to circle the wagons and say, keep the family business private and don't talk about it. And our job is to really help people to say, not talking about it is not going to make it go away. Yeah. And when you have a conflict that's been going on for a while, you really have to start with small steps to see where the opening is. Yeah. And where you can make a connection with your kid in a different way than the way you have been trying.
It seems like some of the, you said the first step is the hardest. Some of that might be, you said due to embarrassment, because people might think that they're the only ones going through it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They don't want to appear as if they don't know what they're doing. Can you speak a little bit to that? Because that's, I know from my own personal life, my wife and I, we often ask others that have gone through it.
Yeah.
Because we know we're not perfect parents.
Right.
And we know we're not the only ones that go through struggles. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, that's a great moment for some parents when they do get into a group situation and they realize, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one that their kid says this, or their significant other does that. Yeah. That's a relief. It's not where we stay, though, because you could talk about your significant other or your kids for a long time and not really get around to what you like about them and what you want to do differently.
Right.
And so there's that relief, but then we gotta get to work on actually dealing with the issue still too.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about what are some of the programs that you would implement here, working with parents or kids, or both spouses, or even a family that it might be nuclear today, but it might be breaking up. So what are some of the things that you guys do here that would help parents through those? What are some of the programs?
Yeah, well, we have several different parent education programs. One of them is called Dad Matters. It's for fathers. We have it on Saturday morning. So sorry, no hunting Saturday morning. You gotta come to class. And that's run by a dad who's been doing that class for more than 10 years, I believe. We use the National Fatherhood Initiative curriculum for that, 24/7 Dad. The dads talk about their role models or their lack of a role model and figure out how they want to do things differently as the man in the house. And sometimes that's also working with your partner. But again, it's working with them. So it's not just saying they don't listen or writing the other person off.
Yeah.
we have a class called Strengthening Families 10 to 14. I myself raised 3 kids, and that grade from 5 to 8 was just very awkward for me with my kids. And now I teach parents how to deal with that awkwardness, because they're not the cute 5-year-old anymore. They're not that excited, 6-year-old, just making their first friends. Now you're not sure their friends are a good influence. They don't always want to do their homework. They have those periods of silence, and you don't know what it means. And yet you can't talk to them about, life choices, because they're, 10 years away from going to college.
Yeah, I don't know if that kind of makes sense, but I would imagine a lot of the dads that are part of that group realize that they're not alone in the battle of trying to be a good dad, if that makes sense. Or maybe I'm misunderstanding what that class is doing.
You might be misunderstanding a little bit of it.
Okay.
Some of the people that come to our classes are kind of told to take a parenting class.
Okay.
And so they're not sure that they need it. They think maybe their partner needs it.
Okay.
Or they think, as far as like stages of change, stages of thinking about who I am as a dad, you're someone who's actively looking at yourself and thinking about the dad you want to be, and you're with people who are also in that place. And our group is really more of a thing where they're not sure that they need to look at themselves.
Okay.
Someone has told them they should.
Okay.
But they're not always convinced. And so we have to kind of help them open their eyes, as well as say, just try something a little different and see if that takes you to a different place that is more like where you want to be. It's a little more work for us as facilitators to not point a finger, but to help them see themselves and to see the impact of what they do on their kids at home, in school, and even just in the way that they treat their partner.
Right.
Because how we treat our partner is a role model to both our boys and our girls about how boys and girls should be treated.
Right.
And so the level of respect that we afford our partner, not just our boys are looking at that, our girls are too.
For sure. So what are some of the dangers of families not seeking help from a parenting coach or parenting advisor when they're seeing things that they might be struggling with? What are some of the long-term impacts, or what may or may not happen if as a result of just going?
Some of that we see on the news, right? We'll see drug abuse, drug overdose, car crashes of teens who were under the influence or just driving too fast. There's also the unseen part, which is just a lot of depression. There's a lot of sadness that people don't have a person that they feel they can talk to about it, because maybe their parents are too busy. Maybe they're not the best student, and so their parent is kind of like riding them about something else. Kids that just don't feel they fit in, and so you've got that. It's not gonna get better if you don't bring it out into the open and find a way to talk about it and find a way to create the relationship you want. What's really exciting is when people decide to turn that around, and we had a gentleman who came in here and did our parent coaching program, and he had seen our flyers around, and he was putting his 4-year-old daughter in the car seat one day, and he was like forcing her in. He's just like, oh my God, I know she doesn't want to be in the car seat. I know she hates it, but I don't want to be, manhandling her into her car seat.
Right.
And he called us, and we set up some meetings with him and his partner, and he found that he could do a million things better, not just the whole car seat thing. And he found it inside himself because he reached out.
Patrick, when families start looking around for services related to parenting coaching or help being a good parent, what are some of the things that they should look at when evaluating a service provider such as yourself?
Well, we do try to focus on the prevention end. So we're not a treatment program. If you are looking for family counseling, that's a great thing to look for, and there are some great family counselors out there. And you should think about doing that. We've worked with people who have been working with a therapist, and we focus on just the parenting part.
Okay.
And our focus is on preventing future problems by setting goals and rules for the future. And what is the parent going to do different? But our focus is on starting today. What do you want to do different?
what would you describe as what's different about the Parenting Network as a service provider
Right.
compared to other places?
Right. Great. And we have many different programs. We have the divorce class for parents who are getting divorced. We have a sexual abuse prevention program that we do in schools and churches and for parents. We have positive parenting, which we have as a class and as individual coaching. We have effective black parenting, which we offer in the summertime, which is a course for African American parents. Relax anger management class.
Okay.
And it really works on how you deal with your feelings differently, so that anger is not the only one that you express. Because we all know we got happy and sad back in there too, and sometimes confused, which is really helpful.
Yeah.
Confused is my favorite feeling because you get to make a crazy face, and you don't have to know anything. So live in your confusion and say, I should call somebody. Yeah, well, we could. And what's unique about the Parenting Network is we started in 1976 as a parent helpline.
Okay.
And so we're used to people just calling and saying, I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you have an answer? You know, it's always the first avenue in, because people call and they think the problem is one thing, and then we say all the different menus we have on our classes we have on our menu, and they say, hey, well, when you say that, maybe I want to do this instead of that.
Yeah.
And so we'll help you decide what class is the best for you. And if you're really shy of other people, you want to do it on your own, you might want to try our coaching program. If you really want to get into time with your 10 to 14-year-old, well, then there's really only one choice, the world's best, Strengthening Families 10 to 14. We will help you decide within our slate of programs what is the best fit for you.
Yeah.
And we do try to offer it daytimes for some people, evenings for others, and then weekends for the dads.
Okay.
And we can do it at the sites we already have listed. And if you're a part of a school or a community group and you want us to come to your community convention or something, we do that. Another class I didn't mention is we do a class called START, which is called Sex Talk as Real Talk.
Okay.
And it's about having several conversations with your kid about sex, and
Okay.
starting early and making sure that you don't forget to share what your values are. Because if we don't talk about our values, we can't blame our kids for not knowing what they are. And if they don't know what their body parts are, then we can't blame them for what they do with their body parts. It's kind of hard. And it's harder to protect them too, because there are people out there who will do things with kids, you know, and if a kid can't describe what just happened to them, that's really a big problem.
Yeah.
If they don't know that people don't have a right to touch them in a way they don't feel comfortable, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And they might be at risk. So, but it's an uncomfortable topic for us as parents. I personally hate having the conversation, and I hate having to go out and do the talk.
Yeah.
But I'm always glad after I did it. And I always say, thanks for coming. I'm glad we had this chance to talk.
Patrick, when you're able to work with a family for a period of time, what are some of the things you're able to observe in the participants of the program over time, and what does success really look like for parents that are exploring that?
Well, I would say that each success is unique. Each success is created by the parent and the youth or the child together. And parents find their own way to be a good parent. We don't teach one way to be a parent.
Yeah.
And you know, we all know that all these kids are different.
Right.
So those kids are going to respond differently to things that you try, but they're going to respond to you as the parent.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing. You start to make that connection, and who wouldn't want to listen to you? Who wouldn't want to make a joke and make you laugh?
Yeah.
Right? We start to realize that our kids really enjoy that part of life. And if we pay attention to it, they will too.
Patrick, thank you so much
Yep.
for sitting down with us here today and talking to us about what's going on here at the Parenting Network. If people are curious about getting more information about what you do here and might want to start their journey with the Parenting Network, how would they connect with you?
Yeah, well, the best place to start is to call our parent helpline, 414-671-0566. That'll get you in touch with the helpline, and they can help you answer any questions you might have about looking at our website,
Yeah.
theparentingnetwork.org. You answer any questions you have, help you figure out what it is would be best fit for you, and hook you up with the service that might help.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. I really do appreciate you sitting down with us and sharing with us what's going on here.
Right. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Flourishing Families is a sterling series where we'll explore concepts related to healthy communication, family time, fiscal responsibility, emotional support, health and wellness, personal responsibility, and living a purpose-driven life. Please like and subscribe. We hope these stories are enriching and provoke ideas as you strive to build a strong family.